Welcome to EduCasts, home of EduCasters. So what does all of this mean for the Tuesday morning math class? If we accept information processing theory as truth, it mandates specific changes in how we teach. We can't just spray information at students and hope it sticks. We have to design instruction that aligns with the brain's architecture. Here are the critical implications of IPT for education. 1. Managing cognitive load. This is the big one. Because working memory is so limited, teachers must aggressively manage cognitive load. Australian psychologist John Sweller identified 3 types of load. Intrinsic load, the inherent difficulty of the material. Calculus is harder than addition. You can't change this much, but you can break it down. Extraneous load, this is the noise. Confusing instructions, a cluttered classroom, a PowerPoint slide with too much text, or a teacher telling a long, irrelevant story. This load is bad. It steals precious working memory slots from the actual learning. Germane load. This is the good load. It is the mental effort dedicated to processing the information and building schemas. The strategy. Teachers must minimize extraneous load to free up space for germane load. Don't talk while students are reading. They can't process the visual text and your auditory speech simultaneously without the channels conflicting. Do use worked examples. Show students exactly how to solve a problem step by step before asking them to do it. This creates a temporary scaffold for their working memory. Do declutter your slides. If you say it, don't put it on the screen. The screen is for images or keywords, not a transcript of your speech. 2. The power of chunking. Since working memory can only hold about 4 items, we have to cheat the system by chunking. If I read you the letters N, F, L, C, B, S, U, S, A, F, B, I, you will likely fail to remember them. That is 12 items. But if I group them, NFL, CBS, USA, FBI, you will remember them easily. That is only 4 items, chunks. The strategy. Teachers must organize information into meaningful chunks. Don't teach 20 separate history facts. Teach a narrative with 3 main acts. The brain can hold the 3 acts, and the details hang off those acts like ornaments on a tree. 3. Dual coding theory. Proposed by Alan Pivio, this theory suggests we have 2 separate channels for processing information. Visual and verbal. If you present information only verbally, you are using half your capacity. If you present it only visually, same problem. But if you combine them, an image plus a narration, you are utilizing 2 separate processing channels, effectively doubling the bandwidth of working memory. The strategy. Don't just say the heart pumps blood. Show a diagram of the heart while you explain it. But be careful. Don't just have text on the screen that matches your words. That's redundant and causes interference. Use the visual channel for visuals, diagrams, graphs, photos, and the auditory channel for words. 4. Attention is a resource, not a switch. You cannot simply demand attention. You have to earn it and maintain it. Attention acts as a spotlight. If the spotlight isn't on the curriculum, learning is physically impossible. The strategy. Signaling. Use cues to direct attention. This next part is crucial, or bolding key terms on a handout. Novelty. The brain ignores the mundane. Habituation. Change the stimulus. Move around the room. Change the tone of voice. Use a surprising example. Break it up. Because attention spans are linked to working memory endurance. Lecturing for 45 minutes is a fool's errand. Use the 10 and 2 rule. 10 minutes of instruction, 2 minutes of processing time. 5. Retrieval practice and spaced repetition. IPT tells us that every time you retrieve a memory, you strengthen the neural pathway to it. You make the file easier to find next time. Most students study by rereading, pushing info in. This is a low-effort, low-value activity. We need to focus on pulling info out. The strategy. Low-stakes testing. Start class with a brain dump or a quick quiz on yesterday's material. Distributed practice. Don't block teach. Instead of doing topic A for 3 weeks and never seeing it again, spiral back. Ask a question about topic A during the unit on topic B. This forces the brain to reload the old schema, which arrests the decay of forgetting. 6. Automating basic skills. Why do elementary teachers drill multiplication tables? It seems old-fashioned, but IPT backs it up. If a student has to use their limited working memory space to calculate 7 times 8, they have no space left to understand the complex algebra steps the teacher is explaining. The strategy: we must practice foundational skills to the point of automaticity. When a skill becomes automatic, moves to procedural memory, it bypasses working memory. It takes up 0 RAM. This frees up the workbench for higher-order thinking. You can't think critically about an essay if you are still struggling to spell because and society. While information processing theory is incredibly useful, we have to acknowledge its limitations. It is, after all, a metaphor. The biggest critique is that it is too cold, too mechanical. It often ignores the role of emotion. We know now that the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, plays a huge role in memory. We remember things that make us feel something: fear, joy, surprise. A computer doesn't care if the data is exciting, but a human brain certainly does. Furthermore, IPT can sometimes view the learner as passive, a machine just waiting for input. Constructivist theories argue that learners actively construct knowledge, rather than just filing it. However, these don't have to be mutually exclusive. You can be a constructivist teacher who respects the limits of working memory. You can care about social-emotional learning while acknowledging that a student can't process your lesson if they are experiencing sensory overload. Information processing theory demystifies the learning process. It moves us away from student aptitude as the only variable and puts the spotlight on instructional design. When a student fails to learn, we can debug the process. 1. Sensory problem. Did they even notice the information? Attention. 2. Working memory problem. Did I overwhelm them with too much too fast? Cognitive load. 3. Encoding problem. Did they just memorize the definition, or did they understand the meaning? Elaborative rehearsal. 4. Retrieval problem. Did we practice pulling the information out, or just putting it in? Retrieval practice. Teaching through the lens of information processing theory requires empathy. It requires understanding that the human mind, while miraculous, has severe bottlenecks. It gets tired, it gets full, it gets distracted. As educators, our job isn't to fight against these limitations. Our job is to work with them. We must organize our content, guide attention, and facilitate deep processing. We are not just delivering content. We are the architects of the learning environment, designing experiences that fit the specific hardware of the human mind. When we do that, we stop fighting the brain and start helping it do what it was built to do: learn.